when you go to the podcast, you're gonna see like a lot of times we're gonna take one episode and we're gonna chop it up into 2, maybe even 3. Right, just depends on what we have going on. And there's a reason for that. So you want to talk to them a little bit about why we do that, why we're chopping it up into these
for sure.
segments.
I mean, this is the thing. So with a podcast, is like I said, you might be listening in your car, you might be going to the gym, you're probably doing something while you're listening. You're not just actively like watching. Obviously, you're not watching something. So we kind of brainstormed a little bit, and we're like, why don't we just pull out the informational piece, the value piece? Because when I listen to a podcast, and I'm just one listener, but I want to get the intro. Who are you guys? What are you doing? And then boom, give me the content, give me the value. So I felt like as you said before, that kind of all this stuff is great, and shooting the money and on video, it's amazing. It's actually you're very active with the audience in that way. But a podcast is actually a little bit more passive. So let's take the more passive version of the portion of the show and let's put that on the platform. So let's adapt to the platform. LinkedIn, Facebook, IG, whatever. Let's push video for the platform. But audio, podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everybody's listening, everybody's jogging, everybody's walking down the street. Let's adapt to the platform, so let's put out just the interviews.
Yeah, I love it. It was it's good, and since then the listeners.
Yeah, man, we did I think like a 30 or 40% bump in listeners. We went from 3.5 stars to 5 stars within like a month.
Hey, we got 5 stars up in here.
5 stars, baby. Let's go.
So,
that's it, man. Yeah.
Okay, for those that are listening that may be thinking about doing a podcast or something like that, because a lot of the companies that watch us end up doing podcasts. Even some of the job seekers end up doing it. But what could help someone besides editing the audio itself? What are some other things that could help someone take their from a 3-star to a 5-star, or to raise the quality of their show?
Number one, this is something that I learned pretty recently, actually, and something that I now do with all of my episodes. I sit and listen to the episode. I've done 2 or 3 hour podcasts, and I will sit and listen to this episode, and if I get bored, I know I gotta change something up.
You gotta change something.
So you gotta think about it. It's like, sure, you might think this content's great, but it turns out the audience is always right. The audience is always smarter than you. The audience will tell you if this show was good or not, because they're the consumer. They're the person that's at the end of the line, right?
They're the ultimate judge.
You're assuming, hey, I'm gonna put out this song, it's gonna be amazing. Well, the audience is gonna let you know how good it is. So that's how I look at it with podcasts now too, of, okay, how can I get into that listener's perspective and be in their mindset? Because take the show, you guys sitting here right now versus you watching it over there, versus if you walk down the street and listen to it, you're gonna have 5 different critiques because you're in a different environment listening.
Oh, totally.
So that's what I would do.
Is there any kind of like, I know with YouTube, you get the little analytics chart that shows you, okay, here they went, and then all of a sudden, they've dropped off the video.
That watch time,
at a certain time. Is there anything like that with podcasts?
There is, but I haven't heard that it's accurate. Not the platforms that I use don't have it. The ones that I've seen, I've just heard a lot, and this is just super anecdotal, and I don't use those platforms that give you your listen time like in the span of an episode, so I'm not sure, but I've just heard a lot about them not being accurate. I think the YouTube one is very accurate, so that's the thing of, you at least have that data on the YouTube version,
right.
But unfortunately, so that's the one thing about podcasts too, it's like you really don't know who's listening.
Yeah.
You kind of know when, like you look at the stats day to day, month to month, but that's the thing. So what do you guys do? You have an entire comment section, you have an entire community, right? So you got to build these other things around your podcast to get those new metrics and really understand who's listening and all.